the news tonight, the local fishing fleet getting back up to speed a year after Hurricane Beryl. Work progressing on the breakwater at the port. Roadworks underway in Eagle Hall. And in Sports Kraigg Brathwaite on the verge of creating history by playing in his 100th test.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Lisa Bloom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, 1 year after Hurricane Beryl unleashed some of her fury on Barbados, destroying 90% of the active fleet, a majority of the vessels are able to sail again. Minister of Environment, National Beautification, Green and Blue Economy Adrian Ford shared the good news while touring the ongoing construction of the breakwater at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex. Anesta Henry has that update.
This was what the island's fishing fleet looked like 1 year ago after Hurricane Beryl lashed Barbados with huge waves. 90% of the fleet was devastated. Now, 1 day after the anniversary of Beryl's onslaught, the picture is much different and indeed brighter. Minister of the Environment, National Beautification and the Green and Blue Economy Adrian Ford says the majority of the boats are active again.
I want to report today that we have now in our fishing fleet about 260 active boats. Last year, when Beryl hit, we had about 312 that were actively fishing. We have 260 now, and I want to applaud the efforts of the fisher folk who have stood by our side. We have given them the business interaction benefit to the tune of $7 million or so to ensure that they have the basic needs to survive the test of times.
To help rebuild the fishing fleet, Barbados obtained molds from a Canadian company to construct more than 70 vessels.
I'm very pleased, though, to announce that on World Oceans Day, very fitting, on the 8th of June, we did launch our first vessel constructed after Beryl. And this vessel, called Cleaveston, a 36-foot boat, was successfully launched. The sea trial was done last Tuesday, and I'm pleased to report that it's officially registered in our registry at the Fisheries Division.
Chairman of the Fisheries Advisory Committee, Kimar Harris, is commending authorities for keeping the fisher folk informed about what is happening to help the critical industry recover from Beryl's whipping.
Informed and involved is the key, and we have been having that. Thanking the Chief Fisheries Officer and her team that worked audaciously, and all the other personnel that came in, the soldiers, the police, whoever assisted last year on behalf of the fisher folk. We sincerely thank them.
While the insurance of fishing vessels was a hot topic following Hurricane Beryl, it is still a matter being seriously discussed. In fact, President of the Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations, Fernell Nichols, says Barnufo has had successful meetings with insurance brokers.
We know that that is coming as mandatory, and we're going to ensure that all the boat owners are on board by participating and by embracing the idea and the understanding that insurance is now a new beginning for a new fishing industry.
Members of the fisher folk will be open to training opportunities to use modern technology that will help to make their jobs easier and improve the sector. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Reconstruction of the breakwater at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex as part of the World Bank project is in full swing. Today, members of the media joined the Minister of the Environment, National Beautification and the Green and Blue Economy and key stakeholders on a tour of the major multi-million reconstruction project following damage caused by Hurricane Beryl just last year. Our team, comprising Anesta Henry and Patrick Murray, took part in that tour.
On July 1st, 2024, Hurricane Beryl's tall, powerful waves broke through the existing breakwater of the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex, damaging over 200 fishing vessels sheltered there. The country was thrown into a state of shock as hundreds of fisherfolk were left wondering about the future of their livelihood. However, as the resilient fisherfolk get their lives back on track, government is moving full steam ahead with plans to avoid a reoccurrence of what happened last year. Minister Ford says that the new U.S. $15 million breakwater will have the capacity to withstand whipping waves from a Category 4 hurricane.
It is really a resilient exercise. I want to tell Barbadians that, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the engineers and those who would have worked on projects similar across the globe, it is money well spent, because I think that money spent in the fishing industry, an industry which has been the bedrock for Barbadians, is money justified, because it is an industry that is critical to our basic survival.
Overseeing the project is an international engineering company with a wealth of experience in the area of breakwater restoration. Senior engineer with Beard and Associates Coastal Engineers David Turner explains sophisticated underwater surveys and the drone footage were utilized to view the extensively damaged structure. And through the use of modern technology, a design was formulated for the reconstruction. Mr. Turner says wave-dissipating concrete stones sourced in Norway are being used to create the defense system.
Our function now is primarily to make sure it is built the way that we intend it to have been built, in accordance with all the designs. That has been a challenge, because as you would imagine, things change as we discover damage that may not have been immediately apparent. But at this point, we're in a good position.
General Manager of C.O. Williams Construction Limited, Mark Atwell, says machines had to be imported to get the job done, since there was none on the island big enough to handle the stones for the project. Mr. Atwell says that there is now a push to complete the outer face of the breakwater.
Obviously, that does your main protection. We want to have that fully complete for the end of this month, with then the inner and the retraction of the road that you see here going out completed for the end of August. Again, we are a Barbadian company. We understand, some of our team members have family members who are the fishing community. We're here doing this as fast as we can to have but as safely as possible and to Beard's international standards.
Last November, the World Bank approved $54 million for Barbados' emergency response and recovery project from the impacts of Hurricane Beryl. The reconstruction of the breakwater is an integral part of that project. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
Management of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is tonight reacting to an incident there in which 3 registered nurses were slashed by a patient last night. Communications specialist Shane Seeley confirmed the incident and said the injuries were not life-threatening but have left those involved shaken. Reliable sources informed CBC News that a female patient who was admitted last night hid broken glass in her underwear and used it to cut the nurses. The incident reportedly occurred around midnight. Mr. Seeley says immediate medical attention and psychological support have been offered to all affected personnel.
The matter is being reviewed by hospital management in collaboration with the Barbados Police Service, and the QEH is providing full support to ensure all aspects of the incident are understood. Our Chief Executive Officer, Neil Clark, says, and I quote, "We take this matter extremely seriously. The safety and well-being of our staff, patients, and visitors is always our top priority. As part of its routine commitment to continuous improvement, the hospital will use this incident to reflect on and further refine existing safety procedures."
Well, there's reaction too from the Barbados Nursing Association. President Dr. Faye Paris is calling for panic buttons on all wards and an urgent review of safety protocols to better protect nurses in crisis.
We also urge nurses to take proactive steps to protect themselves. Over the past 2 weeks, BNA has started facilitating the provision of self-defense sessions and Safety First webinars, both eligible for continuing education credits. BNA invites all nurses, nursing personnel, and nursing students to make use of this opportunity to learn the skills to protect themselves. And to the public, stop the violence against nurses. They care for you. Let's care for them.
Dr. Paris says they've invited the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Wellness and his team to a virtual town hall meeting with the general membership this week, and they are currently awaiting confirmation of a date and time. A 17-year-old has been remanded on a number of charges, including firearms charges. Kimani Kishon Smith-Wooding of Hearts Gap, Christchurch, was charged with possession of a firearm, 4 rounds of ammunition, no driver's license, and no third-party insurance while on Hearts Gap on June 27th. Smith-Wooding appeared before Magistrate Manila Renee in the District A Criminal Court No. 2 yesterday. He pleaded not guilty to the traffic offences, but was not required to plead to the firearm and ammunition offences. Smith-Wooding has been remanded to the Barbados Prison Service Dodds until July 29th. Meanwhile, a 26-year-old man will spend the next 28 days on remand at the Prison Service Dodds. He is Keanu Nathaniel Harris of Lot 15, Clapham Park, St. Michael. Harris was not required to plead to illegal possession of a firearm and 15 rounds of ammunition when he appeared before Magistrate Alston Burke in the District A Magistrates Court. The offences occurred along Clapham Park on June 27th. Harris will reappear in court on July 30th. Barbados recorded another road fatality this afternoon. A motorcyclist lost his life after his bike was involved in an accident with a car along Tudor Bridge. Police have not yet released his name or the circumstances of the accident. Well, the Eagle Hall Main Road is being repaved as part of the Focus Roads program. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Transport and Works Santia Bradshaw says this program started in February. She says when the Mill and Pave program began, officials realized there were a number of roads that were more complex than those to be milled and paved. Deputy Prime Minister Bradshaw was speaking on the first phase of work being conducted, which began last night.
We've assessed about 60 roads on the program through PESL, who is the contractors engaged to be able to do the overseeing of the works. We have about 5 contractors that have now been working across the country, both in the rural as well as the urban corridor, to be able to bring some relief in a number of the various communities, the majority of them being residential roads.
Ms. Bradshaw says of those 60 roads that have been assessed, about 25 of them have been completed to date. And she says the remainder of the roads should be completed within the next couple weeks, weather permitting.
The others are at different stages. Some are ongoing, or as soon as the contractors are completed on this second phase, they will shortly start the remaining works. We've spent about, or will spend about 23 million in total across the entire program, which will also include a number of the highways. We did a highway maintenance program, which has taken up a budget of about 10 million out of the 23 million. The public would have seen areas like the Coymond, Dayton area. You would have seen the Top Rock roundabout area also being done, as well as the Wildy Triangle.
Member of Parliament for St. Lucie, Peter Phillips, is this evening expressing condolences on the passing of Alvin Soca Superman Toppin. Mr. Toppin passed away this morning at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital following a brief illness. He was the candidate for St. Lucie for the Democratic Labour Party for the next general election, constitutionally due in 2027.
It is with deep sadness that I learned of the passing of Mr. Alvin Toppin. I always respected Mr. Toppin's commitment to his chosen profession of insurance and his demonstrated aspiration to be of service to the people of St. Lucie. His presence in the entertainment industry will also be missed. In my capacity as parliamentary representative of St. Lucie, my condolences are extended to Mr. Toppin's daughter, his parents, family, friends, and professional colleagues during this difficult time. May he rest in peace.
The implementation of government's proposed car rental levy has been postponed for 3 months. The new measure, which was supposed to start yesterday, July 1st, is now scheduled to take effect from October 1st. Notice of the change has been posted on the website of the Government Information Service. The car rental levy was announced as part of the 2025 budgetary proposals by the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn. The measure is intended to replace the requirement for a visitor's permit with a daily charge charge on all vehicle rentals for both visitors and residents. According to the notice, the deferral aims to give all stakeholders in the industry time to make the necessary adjustments to systems and processes to ensure readiness to comply with the new policy.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time for a look at sports now. Mark Seal joins us live in the sports studio with the day's sporting action. Good evening, Mark.
The biggest semi-professional football tournament in Barbados is set to begin in a couple of months. CBC's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce reports.
The countdown is on. Monday, September 1st, the country's most anticipated semi-professional football tournament returns for the second year. The 2025 Prime Minister's Cup is set to kick off, with the top clubs across Barbados once again vying to win the big cash prize of $100,000. This year's competition will again be played at venues in various communities, and it will provide an opportunity for players to earn $125 per match. During the official launch this morning at the Barbados Football Association headquarters, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Montley said the tournament continues to be part of government's plans to continue developing global sportsmen and women and create economic activity for Barbadians.
What we're trying to do is to build an institution that will inspire youngsters to want to say that they want to grow up and play in that tournament, that will inspire parents to recognize that if I can keep my child focused and they can display their talent anchored by their discipline, greatness can happen for them, as we have seen from Niall right back to all of the others who have been identified for higher duty elsewhere.
However, Prime Minister Montley issued a stern warning to Barbadians against gun violence during the competition, stating that it will not be tolerated.
Any guns, no football. And the rule remains the same for this year. The one sure thing that will stop football is not a hurricane, because when the hurricane gone and move on, we can clean the field and everybody can play. The one sure thing that will stop football is gunplay.
Chairman of the organizing committee, former national player and football administrator Omari Eastman outlined the vision for the 2025 edition.
What we're trying to do for year two, we're going to try to identify emerging talent, ensure that football is accessible to each and every community with the new grounds coming on board, partner again with the NTI to engage further development to foster well-rounded individuals. This year we're going to encourage some fan engagement through media, digital platforms and community outreach. We're beginning to strengthen a well-organized and competitive tournament and try to make even more commercially viable for the players that participated.
Last year's competition drew some of the biggest crowds ever seen at community sports in Barbados, with the final at Kensington Oval won by UA Blackbirds over Britain's Hill. Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Owners of fishing vessels will have to pay higher berthing fees to dock at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex from next year. Consultations are ongoing regarding how and when the fees will be implemented. Newly appointed dock manager McAndrew Otley says the implementation of the fees will establish a transparent fee structure based on vessel size and type.
Use collected fees and funds to improve infrastructure, waste management and security. Assign personnel for the monitoring of the process and ensure compliance, and to implement a ticketing or penalty system for violations. The expected outcomes are improve organization and safety within the harbour facility, sustainable revenue stream for harbour maintenance, increase accountability and equitable access for all users.
Mr. Otley also indicated that he will be working closely with relevant agencies and stakeholders to ensure rules are followed consistently and fairly.
This includes enforcement of the zoning regulations, environmental guidelines and safety measures. Hurricane preparedness. The hurricane season is upon us. We must remain vigilant. We have reviewed and updated our hurricane preparedness plans to safeguard vessels, infrastructure, and most importantly, lives. Regular drills, clear communication channels, and early action protocols will be implemented to ensure we are ready.
For some people, the very thought of change drives fears in some employees as the work environment goes through operational changes. Transformation and change management specialist Dr. Glenda Jills says change is consistent, and she tells employees to prepare themselves for that change. She says people should conduct a SWOT analysis for themselves.
People should also use that acronym for themselves. So if you hear of a change and you think, what's in it for me?
Yeah, that radio station.
That radio station, WIIFM,
Yes.
What's in it for me? You also have to prepare yourself.
Yes.
So do some introspection. Don't let the fear grip you, but do some introspection and reflection on how can I fit into this new model? Or can I fit into this new model? Or is it that I should just look at other opportunities?
Right.
Dr. Jills, who is also a past president of the Human Resource Management Association of Barbados, tells employees when they become aware of changes, it is important to ask the right questions and attend any upcoming meetings to find out more. She also urges employers to be upfront and honest with employees of impending changes.
Often, we take information from persons who don't know the answers either. They're just struggling just like you. So ask the questions, find out what it means for you as an individual. If you keep information from your employees, all it does is sow seeds of discord, rumor mongering, fear, and it also impacts your productivity, because if I'm worrying, I not coming to work.
Yes.
I going sick. I just can't function, because all the while in the back of my head I'm wondering, what's in it for me?
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Let's head back over to the sports studio for the second half in sports. Mark.
As is promised, we're going to start with golf, where both Barbados teams are in third place after day one of the Caribbean Amateur Championships being played at the Barbados Golf Club in Durance. The Barbados men ended round one with a gross score of 290. 9 shots behind leaders Puerto Rico, who totaled 281, while Trinidad and Tobago are second, but only 1 shot ahead of Team Barbados on 289. Robert Edgell led the scoring for Barbados men as he went back to the clubhouse with a 71. Xavier Wiggins shot a 72, Shaquan Hardin a 73, and Christopher Jackman 74. Meanwhile, in the women's team competition, Barbados are tied in third position as well. Barbados ladies shot a 158 to be tied with Jamaica, but trailed Puerto Rico, who totaled 148, and second place Bahamas on 157. For Barbados, Mariella Young went back to the clubhouse with a 78, while Emily Odwin shot an 80. The second and final round of the team competition is tomorrow. Meanwhile, 2 veteran Barbados golf officials were inducted into the Caribbean Golf Association's Hall of Fame last night. It happened at the opening ceremony of the Caribbean Championships, which was held at the Wyndham Grand Barbados Sam Lords Castle Resort. Administrators Trenton Weeks and Birchmore Griffith were inducted for their contributions to the Barbados Golf Association and also to the Caribbean Golf Association. President of the CGA, Puerto Rican Sidney Wolf, congratulated both inductees.
Both gentlemen have dedicated countless hours and years to the advancement of golf across the region. Their tireless work with the BGA and the CGA, I've had the pleasure of working with both, and their passion, leadership, and service have left an indelible mark on our sport. On behalf of the entire CGA, congratulations to both of you.
In drafts, and after 6 rounds of play at the USA National Championship in Vidor, Texas, former world champion Barbadian Suki King is continuing his battle across the board as he remains tied in 3rd place on 15 points. Suki is 1 point behind 3 players who are tied for the lead on 16. Jack Francis is down the pack on 13 points. Niall Bushell defeated Damani Sandiford 2-0 as the finals of the NSC Primary Schools Road Tennis Tournament came to an end at the Wildy Gym hard courts. It was a keen contest with both players showing excellent skills, making it a highly competitive showdown. Bushell of St. Giles won the boys' singles matchup against Sandiford of Welches 21-17, 21-19. St. Giles also won the team section, getting past Charles F. Broom. However, in the girls' team section, Charles F. took top honors with Zaya Seeley of Grantley Prescott winning the singles title.
Well, that's news. On behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.